Assalamu alaikum. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in chapter 25, Surah Al-Furqan, He concludes this beautiful chapter with a description of Wa'ibadur Rahman, the servants of the most merciful, of Ar-Rahman. And He describes them in several characteristics in the last page and a half. Beautiful characteristics that are very humbling. And subhanAllah, when looking at this chapter and these verses where Allah starts saying Wa'ibadur Rahman, you know, these are my people, like these are mine, these are the servants of Ar-Rahman. He's attributing us to Him. So right away it's very inclusive, and it makes you want to see like who are these people. And sometimes, you know, trying to be religious and do the best, we sometimes assume that, yeah, obviously the first characteristics is going to be something that has to do with us worshiping God. You know, it's going to have to do with us either praying or fasting or doing something good. But actually, subhanAllah, Allah, the first characteristic, the very first one here, He says, وَعِبَادُ الرَّحْمَنِ الَّذِينَ يَمْشُونَ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ هَوْنًا, that those who walk on earth with humility. And then وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا, and those ignorant, when the ignorant come to them, they speak to them with words of peace. So subhanAllah, the very first characteristic is something to do between us and people, the way we treat people. It's not, oh, how much they're praying or how much they're prostrating. It's the first thing is us and people. And sometimes we forget or neglect to see that, you know, our relationship with people is just as important as our relationship with God. And actually our closeness to the people and the way we treat people should show us how close we are to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, we can't be close to God and think, you know, yeah, we're righteous without having that closeness with people and that treating them with peace and with dignity and with humility. And sometimes we overlook that, subhanAllah. And this is something that my grandpa taught me, and he said, you know, look at all these characteristics. There's like a lot of characteristics in the last page and a half, but Allah chose, you know, out of all of them for this to be the first one, the one that shows, you know, how we are with people, even with those who are ignorant, who are, you know, maybe harming us or doing wrong to us, that we still are being peaceful with them, subhanAllah. So that's the very first characteristic. The second characteristic is something to do with our worship, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly. And He says, وَالَّذِينَ يَبِيتُونَ لِرَبِّهِمْ سُجَّدًا وَقِيَامًا, those who spend their nights prostrating and standing, meaning that they're doing qiyam al-layl, they're, you know, waking up at night and they're praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they're occupying themselves in worship with Allah. And this is where the notion of qiyam al-layl comes in. And you know, the last 10 nights of Ramadan right now, where we're at, this is what we should be doing. We should be spending the night in prostration with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know, humbling ourselves before Him. So, you know, I pray that in these last 10 nights we can be included in all of these categories, and specifically these first two that I mentioned, that when the people who are ignorant come to us, that we say words of peace, we remain those peaceful, humble servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that we busy ourselves prostrating in the middle of the night when everybody is sleeping. We're actually up asking Allah for forgiveness, asking Allah to help us change our way of life, inshallah. So I urge you to look at these verses in the last few pages of chapter number 25 Al-Furqan, and kind of soak up these characteristics. I pray Allah makes us of them, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.